Hi guys, sorry for the late analysis. I had an emergency, but I'm here now. Okay, so I went through all of your messages, and some of you have been asking me a lot of JPY pairs, so I decided that today let's just focus on JPY pairs. Okay, since it's the weekend, or I mean approaching the weekend, it's the last day of the week. JPY pairs are also quite volatile compared to just other currency pairs. And we do have, if I remember correctly, a high impact news on USD pairs later in the evening during the US session. All right, so from there, it can actually affect JPY pairs like GJ, CAD JPY, and EJ, right? Because JPY likes to move a lot and it's very reactive to high impact news. Okay, so starting with GJ. We have our sell zone, which is an engulfing buy that was respected so many times it finally failed over here when the price created an engulfing sell that broke the zone. Right from there, you can see that the price, even on the next H4s to come, it tapped into the zone before this drop. Okay, but the key level that I'm going to be monitoring is here, 182.050 to 182.360, around there. Okay, this is where I want my premium sell to be if there are sell setups happening over here. All right, and my buy zone is just an engulfing buy meets this recent engulfing buy. Okay, because when I gave you a zone, this was the engulfing buy that I marked. Price broke it, and from there we know that if the price breaks this hour engulfing buy over here, there was a likelier chance that the price could fall. But instead, it decided to create this. You see that there is a hidden support somewhere that caused the price to leave 1, 2, 3 on H4, very big long wicks. Okay, so there's a hidden support over there, hence I'm using this as an engulfing buy. Meets an engulfing buy for our zone. Okay, so the current price is in the middle, about to tap into our sell zone. Real quick. So they're about to tap into our sell zone. Okay, so if the price comes into our zone, what do we do? What exactly do we do? Let's screenshot that and go through it real quick. Now, I'm not going to be monitoring or trading today's pair. I have too much going on, but let's just see. Okay, if the price comes in the smaller time frame decides to create sell setups, then you can look for sell setups. For higher risk traders, you can try to trade before the H4 closing. But if you are a low risk trader, quite conservative, you want the decision to be made first in the higher time frame, then wait for H4 to close first. Okay, that is simply it. If the H4 decides to come up and break our zone, then potentially we can look for the next sell zone, which would be up top over here, around there. Or we wait for the price to retrace back into our key level to look for a better buy up into the sell zone. Okay? Vice versa, same thing. If it comes down into our buy zone and respect it, then potentially we can look for a buy setup. But if H4 decides to break below, meaning it has to break this hidden support in somewhere or which time frame, it's for you to find out. So go ahead and play around with your charts to find out why the price reacted over here. Okay, the more you do it, the more you question what's going on in the charts, the more you learn. So if the price decides to break our zone, meaning it has to break this hidden support area where it caused 1, 2, 3 candles to push the price up continuously. Okay, it did not break below. So if H4 decides to break below the box, then we know that it would kill all these buyers from the hidden support from a different time frame. Okay, from there we know that the price could potentially test a lower area. So either we wait for the next buy zone or we wait for the price to retrace back into our key level to look for a sell setup. Now, like I said, this happened with this one where we had a buy zone, but this broke our buy zone. And instead of dropping, it decided to push up. And that's only because there is a hidden support area. Okay, so nothing is 100%. That's why I always tell you, if the H4 breaks, wait for it to retrace back. And if it creates an opposite setup to the first or main direction, then you can take that. But if not, just wait it out and observe. Continue to monitor as you go. Okay, where do you monitor? Again, M5 or M15. for your setups. Okay, next pair, CAD JPY. CAD JPY is coming into our sell zone. Why is it a sell zone? An engulfing buy that was respected. Price even bounced over here, created an engulfing buy, but after that it dropped, closed within, and created the sell. So we have an EFEG sell for our sell zone, and for the buy, it's an engulfing sell that failed. Okay, you can see that the price tapped into the key level once, twice before this bounce up, showing that we do have buyers over here. But the setup is not complete yet because no H4 has closed within to create an engulfing buy yet. So it's just an engulfing fail. Current price is over here. What do we do? Again, right? You can start looking for potential sell setups in the smaller time frame for higher risk traders. Okay, because if it happens and it's around the key level, you already have that, right? It's a sell zone. We also have sell setups forming at the key level, which is used as support and resistance. So that gives you more confirmation. It gives you more quality and strength to your zones and to your trade. Because if you have all those lined up, especially if it's lined up in multiple time frames, meaning M5 shows a sell setup, M15 shows a sell setup, you can even find sharper entries in M1 with sell setups, it gives you a chance or a higher chance at winning in that trade because a lot of sellers are coming in from different time frames following the main direction of the H4. Okay, so that's it. But if not, when the price comes in and it decides to push the price up, it does not create any sell setups, then what do? You wait for H4 to decide. Either if it respects and it drops, you can look for maybe engulfing sells meets engulfing sells. Or if it decides to not create anything and instead of creating sell setups in the sell zone, it creates buy, then there's a likelier chance for H4 to break above. Right? So you wait for H4 to do that. It has to decide. If it does decide to break, either you find the next to sell zone or you wait for the price to retrace back into your key level to look for a buy setup to buy back up. Okay? Simple as that. Same thing with our buy zone. Right? SLs. Why is it a must? Because it helps manage your losses. Right? Especially if you have a small account or you do not have time to monitor your charts. Set SL and let the trade run, because before you decide to enter the market, it has already been made in your head. It has to be. Either you hit TP, you make something out of it, or it hits your SL. So always respect your setup. But if you are not someone who uses SLs, I like to use SLs when I am out and about, but if I'm on the charts, I will just cut my losses if my zones break. Meaning, what do I mean? Let's say I have a small setup. We have an engulfing sell coming in like this, right? Let's say I draw a zone out like this. This is an EFEG buy. All right, let's say the price reaches our buy zone and it creates this. Once I enter from my EFEG buy, right, the price can either do two things, three. It can also drop into my smaller time frame to create the second engulfing buy, which I will float a little bit from my entry down to the zone. But if it does not break below my zone, it's still a buy, right? So I can do that. Price can also just shoot up from my EFEG. From there, I won't be floating much at all. So that can happen. I would still be in profit. Or the price can also just, after creating EFEG buy, if the sellers are strong enough, drop down, break my M15 zone. Let's say this is M15. Just break my smaller time frame buy zone. From there, after it closes and I know that it's a confirmed break of my zone, I can just cut my losses. Right? Cut my losses. So not only am I losing less, I can use the remaining that I have as a bullet for this particular trade to look for new and fresh setups. A more new and more fresh setups. All right? But if not, then just set SL, your TPs, and let it run. Okay, be confident, and that's all you can do, is be confident in yourself. Either hit TP or SL, stick to it, or if you're not using SLs, cut loss. Okay, always cut loss, cut loss, cut loss, cut loss. But again, don't enter on risky trades. if you want to do that. Make sure to find quality trades. All right, so EJ, last pair, we have an engulfing buy that failed. Price came back in, created this engulfing sell. So EFEG sell. And on the buy side, it created an engulfing sell that failed. Price came back in, closed within, and created an engulfing buy. So we also have an EFEG buy, right? Current price is just in the middle. What can it do? It can test either of the zones, meaning go for the sell or come back down for the buy, right? So while it's doing that, why am I not marking this? If you ask me, why am I not marking this engulfing fail or this engulfing sell? Because I want a premium price. Of course, the price can drop from here, but I'm not gonna chase it, right? Because from here to here, compared from here to here, this is more worth it for me, right? This is more worth it for me. But if you are a scalper and you wanna find a zone from here, either to scalp into the sell zone or scalp down to the buy zone, you can also do that. Okay, I'm just particularly for me, my preference is to hold from zone to zone. I don't like to scalp in the middle. But if you want to, you can try, right? It's your style, it's your preference in the market, it's your strategy. So adapt to what you like. Okay? So again, same thing. Either if it comes into our buy or sell zone and respects it, you can look for respective setups in the smaller time frame. If it breaks above or below our zones, then we look for the next one, or we wait for the price to retrace back for the opposite direction or the opposite opportunities, right? The potential opportunities in the market. TPs, let's talk about TPs. Again, TP, it's something you are comfortable with. Don't be greedy. Some of you like to enter so many lots because either you want to TP at 20 pips but have a lot. If that's your style, go for it. I like to calculate. If I have a smaller account, either I set a daily target and I do just that. But I like to hold from zone to zone. Okay, I like to hold from my zone to zone. So either you can do that, meaning TP at the before the next key level or before the next zone, or you TP at the market structure, right? Meaning the highs and the lows of the previous wave. Or you can also just set 10, 20, 30 pips and take it as it is, wait for the next opportunity. So TP is quite subjective. It depends if you want to be analytical or subjective or according to your liking preference. It's all up to you and how much you want to make without being too greedy and scared of the market, all right? So balance those out, try a lot of ways to see what you like. That's it for the 3 pairs. I still have to go through so many mappings of your messages, but for the ones who have listened to the end, please do let me know, because if there are a lot of you and you still do not get it, message me and I will try to find a time to teach you through a webinar this weekend, okay? So message me. I just want to see who makes it to the end of the video. All right, have a good day for the rest of the day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.